Happening now on Grid Tonight. A major bombshell in the world of motorcycles, Suzuki will leave MotoGP at the end of the 2022 season. What's next for everyone currently a part of Suzuki's MotoGP program and also for silly season as well? A controversial ending to one of the supercars races last weekend in Perth caused a lot of online outrage. Why did this particular incident force Chaz Mostert to publicly defend one of the race officials? Matt White's here with your weekly grid history update. And from the world of Formula E, they unveiled a new Gen 3 car. What makes it different from its predecessor, and how will it take Formula E to the next level? A special hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish, and with me, as always, Adam Lemerise. And another special shout out to our awesome Patreon supporters. Colin, Mark, Duchelle, and Robin, thank you so much for investing in Grid Network. Link to our Patreon in the video description below. Please feel free to comment in the chat room, ask questions, and engage in tonight's discussion. Before we get started, we want to give a special congratulations to the 2023 NASCAR Hall of Fame class. The first inductee is 2003 NASCAR Cup Series champion Matt Kenseth, who won 2 Daytona 500s and a single victory in the Crown Jewel Coca-Cola 600 and Southern 500. Second inductee is legendary crew chief Kurt Shelmerdine, who found tons of success with multiple drivers, including Dale Earnhardt. Shelmerdine is a winner of a total of 46 NASCAR Cup Series races on top of the pit box. And the third and final inductee is 94-year-old Herschel McGriff, who has been recognized for his longevity in the sport, dating all the way back to the inaugural Southern 500 in the year 1950. Coming from Oregon, less than 40 minutes from Portland and the City of the Roses, which he put on his race cars. McGriff raced in the older Winston West Series and a career that lasted for over 70 years. And he was also the 1986 NASCAR Winston West Series champion. Once again, special congratulations to Kenseth, Shelmerdine, McGriff, their family and friends for such a special, well-deserved honor. And the graphic you see on the screen, courtesy of NASCAR. And next, we'll shift gears and start our show talking about the shocking news coming out of MotoGP. And as we said at the top, the MotoGP world was rocked on Monday when Motorsport.com and various media outlets broke the bombshell news that Suzuki will exit MotoGP at the end of 2022. The announcement was made to the team on Monday morning during Jerez testing. Reports indicate that employees didn't see the move coming and were completely caught off guard. Suzuki only returned to MotoGP after a hiatus in 2015, and in 2020, Joan Mir won the World Championship with Suzuki. This year, they have a fast bike, and while qualifying is a weakness, they look a lot stronger in the race. Adam, how shocking is it to see Suzuki exit MotoGP at the end of the 2022 season?
It is shocking. Johan Mir won the championship in 2020. They could sweep. They almost swept the championship and constructor championship. Their bikes are fast. I feel so sorry for all the employees of Suzuki. Hopefully they will find. Hopefully they'll find. Hopefully they'll find work elsewhere in MotoGP. When I heard this news, it just blew me away. And for all you NASCAR viewers that are watching, I'll give you a NASCAR comparison. Imagine if Stewart Haas Racing announced they were leaving NASCAR at the end of 2022. Their last championship was 2014. Besides Kevin Harvick, a handful of wins. It's not Hendrick Motorsports, Team Penske, or Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. It's a big legacy team. But it's not a new team like Trackhouse. Suzuki is overall a top motorcycle manufacturer across the world, and hopefully, hopefully the employees of Suzuki can find some more work at MotoGP. I bet you when they heard this news on Monday, they probably broke down, cried, and couldn't believe what they are hearing. It's it's sad to see.
Yeah, it's always sad to see when something like this happens, Adam, because you have no idea what your future is going to be. And if the reports are true that they just found out like this, it's really hard to process it at first, because I'm sure a lot of these people thought they were in a stable situation. They're going to be working at Suzuki for the foreseeable future, and then this bombshell is dropped on you just like this. And I can't imagine what they're going through. And in a way, it's a good thing it happened this early in the year, so they have multiple months to try to find something for next year. I think it would have been much worse if we get like to the very final third of the season, like we have like 3, 2, 1 race to go, and then they drop the news that Suzuki's going to fall out of the MotoGP World Championship. That would be a more difficult situation. So I guess it's better that they got the news out of the way now versus later, and that would have made it very difficult for the others to find work. So right now, just beginning of the month of May, MotoGP season, the end of the MotoGP season is many months away, so they'll have time to to get their resumes put together, well updated, and reach out to other teams inside the MotoGP paddock and see if they'll be able to stick around. And with Suzuki leaving, a lot of rumors that Joan Mir could be heading to Honda, and Alex Rins' future certainly going to be unknown. And Fabio Quartararo could also be looking to make a move, and many riders right now are without a ride heading into the 2023 season. And this is going to further complicate the driver market and musical chairs, as we like to call it. And talking about Alex Rins, do you think he's in trouble of not finding a ride? And do you think this increased Fabio Quartararo's chances of staying with Yamaha?
Alex Rins' chances of a top ride are looking slim. The factory teams of Ducati and Honda have one opening each. Johan Mir is rumored to go to Honda with Mark Marquez next year. Quartararo is rumored to be looking for a new ride. Um, you know, you, we always talk about silly season in the world of motorsports. It's starting right now with MotoGP, and who knows where we'll see some of these top riders ride next year in MotoGP.
Yeah, who knows where they're going to be? And I think right now for Alex Rins, he has to be a little bit worried that he's not going to be able to get that top ride. Yeah, I know there's quite a few riders right now who who are looking for a ride. As mentioned, Joan Mir rumored to go to Honda alongside Mark Marquez, Fabio Quartararo, last year's champion, also a free agent, and other race winners like Jorge Martin, Jack Miller, and some of the rookies making some noise this year. And this is probably the most competitive silly season of any series in the grid ranking. And I really think Alex Rins probably needs to put on quite an effort the rest of the way, win races, and show that he can win and contend for the championship to really impress some of the other teams out there. And I think, with given the current situation, might be best for Fabio Quartararo to stick around with Yamaha and just build upon their success. No, they got off to a slow start in that first race and all of that, but everything seems to certainly be gelling right now with Quartararo and Yamaha, and looking like he might be one of the contenders for the championship this year and try to go back to back. And a quick follow up question about discussing Aprilia. Is Aprilia's second seed held by Maverick Vinales now a golden opportunity, considering Aprilia's surprising success this year?
Yes, Aprilia this year is looking good and looking fast. Well, what we've seen from Alexis Espargaro up front with podiums and a win, Maverick Vinales the last two races has finished in the top 10, but no higher than fifth. Aprilia's had a lot of success this year, so it's going to be interesting to see where everybody lands next year in the MotoGP World Championship.
Yeah, definitely is going to be interested. And I think Maverick Vinales definitely has to step it up and looking at Alicia Spargo perform as well as he's done. This year took him a long time to finally get that first MotoGP victory, and now it's on a hot streak, riding that momentum. And often in motorsports, we often compare drivers slash riders to their teammates, and if Alicia Spargo is running this well and Maverick Vinales is not able to match him, then history tells us that Aprilia may want to look at a rider like a Alex Rins to see if he can perform better than Maverick Vinales. So overall, looking at Alicia Spargo's performance versus Maverick Vinales, I really think Vinales is going to have to step it up to keep his seat and stay in MotoGP. But Aprilia, they could also be looking into at potentially Fabio Quartararo if he decides not to stay with Yamaha, or Joan Mir. Will be really huge for Aprilia to bring a world champion MotoGP rider to their organization.
Yeah, I'll agree, Kobe. And if you don't follow MotoGP, you definitely should, because this year's championship is really good. So many different riders have won, and so many different riders have been on the podium. So going forward, MotoGP is certainly, if you don't follow MotoGP, you definitely should. It is a world class championship for motorcycle Grand Prix road racing, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top when it comes to this year's champion. And now moving forward to some racing from the land down under in Australia. Last year's winners of the Bathurst 1000 will compete in next weekend's Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour endurance race. Chaz Mostert and Lee Holdsworth, last year they drove for Waukesha and Andretti United. But this year they'll be driving Audis, but they won't be teammates. Mostert will drive the Coin Sport Audi RM LMS GT3 with Liam Talbot and Fraser Ross. Meanwhile, Holdsworth will drive the team Hallmark Audi with co-drivers Dean Fiore, who has competed in supercars in the past, and Mark Siri. Other supercar drivers that'll be competing in next weekend's Liqui Moly Bathurst 12-hour endurance race are Repco Supercars Championship leader and current grid ranking leader Shane Van Gisbergen, his teammate at Red Bull Ampol Racing, Brock Feeney, Nick Burkout from Waukesha Andretti United, Will Brown. Another story to watch out for as we get closer to the weekend. Several media outlets have reported that Waukesha and Andretti United may be on the move to switch manufacturers. Reports say a major announcement is set for Friday, where Waukesha and Andretti United could switch over to Ford Performance from the Holden Commodore. And stay tuned for the news on that here at Grid Network. And next, here's Kobe Lambeth with some news about another supercars driver from Waukesha Andretti United, Chaz Mostert.
Yeah, we have some more on Repco Supercars Championship driver Chaz Mostert, who is sounding off again with this hashtag no social hate message. On Sunday's Grid Light wrap-up show, we didn't really go too deep into details about the controversial ending to the second race of Wanneroo Raceway in Perth, Australia. Will Davison and Cam Waters were fighting up front for the win. Waters went super wide off course and made an aggressive re-entry to the track. Supercars thought it was a dangerous move, so Waters was issued a 5-second time penalty. Many thought this was way too harsh considering other drivers did the exact same thing and they weren't penalized at all. While Waters came across the line first in the final lap, it was Davison who ended up taking the checkered flag, and Waters really, missed opportunity there. Mostert wasn't involved in this incident, but he took to Twitter to defend Supercars driving standards advisor Craig Bard, who got hate sent his way for making the highly controversial call that cost Waters a race win. Mostert made it clear that he's not against a person's right to have an opinion on something, but he thinks a line is clearly crossed when it becomes aggressive, hatred, and threatening. He went far enough to call on supercars to hold people accountable online for their hateful messages by issuing bans from attending supercars races in person and blocking them from viewing any supercars related content on social media. Adam, what's your take on the penalty handed down to Waters that cost him the win and Monster's view that it's time to start punishing bad online behavior?
Well, I'm going to start with the second portion of that question, and I completely agree with Jazz Mostert on this hashtag no social hate, and I wish a lot more motorsports drivers took to this as well. If you're on social media, think before what you said. How would you want to talk to that person you're sending a tweet to or a post to on Facebook or Instagram? How would you want to talk to them in person? Would you say the same thing in person as you say online? And I completely agree with what Chas Monster said. I love it, and hopefully more motorsports drivers will follow Chaz with this hashtag no social hate. And now getting back to the first part of the question, I agree with it. It was good what Supercars did, so I like it, and hopefully we won't see any more hate among fans to Supercars drivers or officials. Like I said, think before what you send on social media. How would you want to say? How would you say something? What do you say on social media? Would you say that to that person in person?
Yeah, Adam, I totally agree with everything you said, and the thing is, I think we can. Yeah, yes, it's okay to have different opinions on things, but you have to learn how to You have to learn how to agree to disagree in a respectful manner. Even I said on Twitter when I was watching the race, I said I thought that was a really terrible call they made on Cam Waters, because I saw other drivers go off the track and return to the racing service in the exact same manner, but race control did nothing. They didn't even call it, but it was that particular moment they decided to call Cam Waters. I thought that was a horrific call to make, and I felt like Waters should have won that race because I don't think he did anything wrong in that instance. But I didn't cross the line by calling the race director names or calling for harm or whatever, because that is totally unacceptable. And I think that nobody should be making those comments towards others all across social media. And I don't know how supercars. I mean, in theory, Chad Monster's idea is great to punish online bad behavior, but I'm not really sure if that idea will truly be feasible. I mean, you can try to go and block as many hateful accounts as you can on Twitter, but what they can do is create another account and just keep attacking you, and you just have to keep blocking. They can keep adding just to come after you, and it's really just an exhausting process. So so I don't know what they're gonna do about that, or find a way to ban them from coming to supercars races. Like I said, it's a great idea in theory, but in reality, it would be an uphill battle to try to impose such a thing. Chaz Masters, he's been super consistent with his hashtag no social hate message, and I'm sure a lot of other people in the supercars paddock feel the same way. As I said, it's okay to have different opinions. It's okay to agree to disagree, but anything more, that's totally crossing the line. I think Chaz Mostert brings up a good point, and 9 times out of 10, the things you see fans say to drivers and people in the industry on Twitter, they would never walk up to them in person and say it to their face because they'd be too scared to do that, because they can hide behind the screen and think they can say whatever they want. Yeah, once again, kudos to Chaz Mostert for keeping this in the conversation. We've talked about it before, and if something happens again, I'm sure we'll be discussing it again here at GRIDnet. We're now shifting gears, talking about a little bit of Formula E. We have a little bit of Formula E to discuss, quite a bit in the second half of our show. And during the Monaco E-Prix race weekend, Formula E in the city of Sao Paulo, Brazil, signed a deal to host a Formula E race pending approval by the FIA. Sao Paulo would begin its 5-year contract in season 9 with the option of a renewal. Brazilian Formula E driver Lucas Di Grassi said this news was music to his ears, and he thinks this is an important step towards the electrification of the Brazilian automotive market. Plus, he's very excited about having a home race finally, calling it a dream come true to compete in front of Brazilian racing fans. And the image you see on the screen of the beautiful city of Sao Paulo, Brazil, courtesy of Formula E. Next, here's Matt White with a weekly grid history update.
Hi everybody, Matt White here. It's that time of the week again where we go around the motorsport world and bring you up to date with some of the results of this weekend's action, and a busy weekend it was as well. We'll start in Portugal, and the DTM got its season underway at Portimao. Victories for Lucas Hauer for Mercedes and Nico Muller for Audi, supporting them with the European category of TCR. Jack Young and Franco Girolami getting a win each there. Down under at Perth, supercars were back after a couple of weeks away, and their first time in Western Australia since 2019. Shane Van Gisbergen bookending the weekend. Will Davison getting his first win for a very long time on Sunday in the middle race of the weekend. In support, the Dunlop Series, Matt Payne getting his win as well, and Tyler Everingham getting the race win in race 2. And the Utes were also in action, with David Seeters getting a headline victory. Aaron Borg getting 2 victories in that championship as well. At Barber Motorsports Park on Sunday afternoon, Pato O'Ward got his 3rd INDYCAR Series victory of his career, with a great win in that race, and in the Indy Lights race that precluded it, Linus Lundqvist getting a victory for the Swede. At Brands Hatch over the weekend, the GT World Challenge Europe Sprint started. A upset victory on Saturday, the first race, on Sunday morning, when Ulysse de Pauw and Pierre-Alexandre Joan from the Silver Cup managed to win outright. Rafael Marciello and Timur Bogoslawski winning the second race in the afternoon. At Dover for NASCAR, Chase Elliott winning on Monday in that rain-delayed race, and Josh Berry getting the win on Saturday in the Xfinity Series. MotoGP were in action this weekend as well on Sunday in Jerez for the Spanish Grand Prix. Francesco Bagnaia putting his poor start to the season behind him to take victory for Ducati. Ayogura winning in Moto2, and Isan Guevara winning in Moto3. At Laguna Seca over the weekend, we had the next round of IMSA, its first standard length race of the season at race 4. Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque won the 2-hour 40-minute race in California outright and in DPI. John Farano and Louis Delatraz winning in LMP2. In GTD Pro, it was a Porsche victory for Matt Campbell and Matthew Jaminet, and Porsche also winning in GTD with Ryan Hardwick and Jan Halen winning for Wright Motorsports. On Saturday, we had the Monaco E-Prix, Stoffel Vandoorne getting the victory for Mercedes in a terrific race there. And at Alton Park on the weekend, including Monday, being that it was a bank holiday here in the UK, Brad Ray getting 2 victories for Yamaha, and Lee Jackson getting his first British Superbike win of his career in the final race of the weekend. Don't forget to check out grid_history on Twitter, because every day we post a motorsport memory from the Grid video vault if we've got a video for it. We've had some good stuff this week, Formula One Grand Prix from down the years included. Back next week, it's another busy weekend. NASCAR at Darlington and the Miami Grand Prix, of course, the big headliners over the weekend coming up. We'll give you all the results on next week's show.
Thank you, Matt. And before we get to our next segment on Formula E, going to talk a little bit of Formula One right quick with the big news that dropped earlier this week. Volkswagen CEO Herbert Diess said the company has decided that Audi and Porsche will enter Formula One in several years' time. They were able to come to this decision after figuring out that entry into Formula One will bring in more money than it will cost to participate. There's still those open rumors swirling around the industry that Porsche would likely team up with Red Bull Racing, while Audi may offer a significant deal well worth over $500 million to McLaren to get its spot on the grid. With the confirmation of Audi and Porsche joining Formula One finally official, do you think Mercedes will have some serious competition as a top German brand competing in the pinnacle of motorsport?
Yup. We all know how dominant Audi and Porsche have been in sports car racing in the past, and still true to this day. Audi has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans many, many times. Porsche has been around sports car racing for a long, long time. Now with those two manufacturers joining another top German manufacturer, Mercedes in F1, I think this is going to be truly awesome to see. 3 German manufacturers in F1 competing to see who's the best German manufacturer in that series. We all know the history of Mercedes in F1, but may not want to look over their shoulder because 2 giants in sports car racing are coming over to compete alongside them in F1. It's going to be an interesting battle when it all happens in just a few years' time.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun watching Audi and Porsche go up against Mercedes, who's definitely been a German powerhouse in Formula One for quite some time. And you mentioned Audi and Porsche don't have the history in open wheel racing that Mercedes does, but history can start writing itself at any time. And once Audi and Porsche enter the sport, I'm sure they're going to be creating a lot of memories, making a lot of history, and possibly winning Formula One races, especially if Red Bull and Porsche come up with a deal. Max Verstappen driving a Porsche F1 car, and considering how Red Bull's been running, as one of the top teams in Formula One, and really taking the fight to Mercedes last year and coming on top in the World Championship. Really think we could see Porsche and Audi potentially give Mercedes a run for its money, as you mentioned, Adam, in several years' time. And now over to the world of Formula E. They made a huge announcement during the Monaco E-Prix weekend. The highly anticipated Gen 3 Formula E car was unveiled, which will debut in Season 9. 7 manufacturers have already committed to the Gen 3 era. DS Automobiles, Jaguar, Mahindra Racing, Maserati, Neo 333, Nissan, and Porsche. Their Gen 3 car will be the fastest so far in Formula E history, with speeds expected to go over 200 miles per hour. It's expected to be the most efficient Formula racing car ever, with more than 40% of the energy used within a race produced by regenerative braking. Around 95% power efficiency from an electric motor, delivering up to 350 kilowatts of power compared to approximately 40% for an internal combustion engine. It'll be the first Formula car with front and rear powertrain. A new powertrain adds 250 kilowatts to the 350 kilowatts at the rear, more than doubling the regenerative capability of the current Gen 2 Formula E cars to a total of 600 kilowatts. Additionally, an ultra high speed charging capability of 600 kilowatts for additional energy during the race, almost doubling the power of the most advanced commercial chargers in the world. Finally, it'll be the first Formula car that will not feature rear hydraulic brakes, with the addition to the front powertrain and its regenerative capability. Looking at it from a sustainability standpoint, Gen 3 batteries will be some of the most advanced sustainable batteries ever. Lining and recycled carbon fiber will be used in bodywork construction for the first time in a Formula car. Natural rubber and recycled fiber will make up 26% of the new Gen 3 car tires, and all tires will be fully recycled after racing is completed. The carbon footprint of the Gen 3 car has been measured from the design phase to inform all reduction measures taken to reduce environmental impact, while all unavoidable emission will be offset as a part of Formula E's net zero carbon commitment. All Gen 3 car suppliers will operate in line with top international standards to reduce environmental impacts in manufacturing. And you can read all of this information more closely for yourself on Formula E's official website. A month ago, motorsport.com did an interesting comparison of all the fastest race cars in the world, from Formula One being the fastest all the way down to the slowest Janetta Junior cars, who were a whopping 69 seconds slower than a Formula One car. Formula E's current Gen 2 car comes in just a tad bit slower than the S5000 Open Wheel Racing Series in Australia and LMP3 categories around the world, but Formula E estimated to be about 28 seconds slower than Formula One at the moment with the much faster Gen 3 cars. This will surely cut down the gap and help Formula E move the list in the photo you see on the screen, courtesy of Formula E. Adam, what are your first impressions of the new Gen 3 car coming along in season 9?
That's one of my favorite songs. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. It's sleek. It's elegant. It's fast. Top speeds that are close to 200, at over 200 miles an hour. I can't wait to see this car on track when it debuts next year. If you're not a Formula E fan right now, you should be, because this car, like you said, and first of all, I give you props for you did a good job on rating this part, Kobe. A lot to read. So I give you a well-rounded applause. I can say that this car is one of the coolest cars I've ever seen in motorsports history. It's just going to be awesome to see on track next year. And if you're not a Formula E fan right now, you should be. This new the season that we're now seeing in Formula E and this new car that's coming next year, it's just gonna be awesome. It looks like a Formula open wheel car. It I love it. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's completely awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be very exciting for the drivers that they're finally going to have a car have the capability to go over 200 miles per hour. They might not reach those speeds based on the tight street circuits that they're racing on, but it'll definitely feel like a proper Formula car. And for the first time in Formula E history, we'll definitely have a proper open wheel Formula car. Definitely, it'll be a lot closer to Formula One. I don't know how many seconds off. As I said, it's 28 seconds off at the moment, but I'm sure that's definitely going to be cut down once we get into the new era of Formula E racing. It was really cool going through the information, seeing besides how fast it's going to be, seeing all the different components, the extra power, and how they're going to be, and how like developing this car, they were really focused on not having an impact on the environment. I know Formula E has really made it a big initiative to reduce the impacts to climate change, and it really seems like they've done that with this new Formula E car. Hopefully, it races well. I know a lot of people really like how this new Gen 3 Formula E car looks. I said, while it might look good to you, I think the biggest thing that matters to all Formula E fans around the world, will it race good? And if it races well, and especially with the higher speeds it's gonna have next year, sure a lot of people are gonna be watching Formula E, and maybe they'll attract some new fans as well.
Yeah, and if you didn't already know, the schedule round in Vancouver, Canada was pushed to next year because the promoters didn't have a lot of money to do it. So if you're watching this in Canada, next year you'll be able to see that Gen 3 Formula E car in person. And now, last news item of the night, switching over to some news from the world of SRX. One of the coolest guys in all of motorsports is set to compete at a home track this year. Kenny Schrader will compete in the SRX race at I-55 Speedway. Kenny Schrader is a longtime NASCAR veteran with over 700 career starts in the Cup Series, including many starts in the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, and the ARCA Menard Series. And a lot of viewers know, if you know how Kyle Larson goes about competing all over the country in different forms of motorsports, that's Kenny Schrader as well. It didn't matter where in motorsports event was taking place. He was there, whether it be the old ASA Midwest Stock Car Series. He was there. He competed. He competed all over, and he got a start in sprint car racing in the 1970s. And Kenny Schrader, he's no stranger to dirt racing. And ironically, he's racing on a track that he knows very well. He's the co-owner and promoter at I-55 Speedway in Pavely, Missouri, which is also sponsored by Federated Auto Parts, a longtime sponsor of Schrader during his racing career. And the graphic you saw on the screen, courtesy of SRX. And I'll give you all a little hint. For pick a winner for the SRX race, I would go with Kenny Schrader, since he is, he's really good at I-55 Speedway. So I'll give you a little hint for pick a winner. And now I'll throw it over to my colleague, Kobe Lambeth, for the wrap up on this wonderful Wednesday night.
Yes, on this wonderful warm Wednesday night, it hit 86 degrees at my house, but thankfully the weather's going to be a lot better. Next few days, temperatures are going to be going down, going to be really nice for Mother's Day in the high 60s, low 70s. So I'll definitely be outside with my family celebrating that with the awesome moms and my family. And also want to remind everyone, please be sure to like and subscribe to Grid Network here on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We encourage you to take 5 minutes after our show and consider joining our Patreon, invest in Grid Network to keep us on the air well into the future. Do you want to buy me a coffee? Click the link in the video description below and you can buy a drink for your favorite on-air talent here at Grid Network. Big thank you to Edward Hunter from formerly E-Zone, Amber, and Zachary for buying us one. We greatly appreciate it. Any amount will help us continue growing our motorsports media outlet. Visit Pablo.com, also known as the stock market social media home. The link below and referral code give you $5 to invest immediately. Pablo.com allows you to connect with your friends. You can make new friends and use tools to learn how to properly invest in the stock market. And looking at our schedule for this week, Thursday, check out a brand new episode of Women in Motorsports. Joe and Daniel is finally here. The 2022 W Series season. W Series going to be a part of the grid ranking this year. We're going to be following all of the ladies competing in that series. We're going to have the season opener this weekend. They're on the support bill with Formula One this weekend. So we'll see W Series racing in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. Really exciting opportunity for the W Series to race in the American market. And then on Saturday, back on the air, Grid Live pre-race, noon Eastern. Sunday, Grid Live wrap-up. 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series and Formula One finishes up at Darlington Raceway and the Miami Road Course. For Adam Lemerise, I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.